Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Jerry Bees, and today's the day. I am so excited that we've been able to get to this point, not only as my channel as a whole, but more specifically in our Lana Del Rey journey, because today we are finally reacting to Norman fucking Rockwell. In earnest, in pure candor, folks, right? Towards the end of my journey reacting to all the Taylor Swift albums, and knowing that I wanted to take a deeper dive into another big pop act that had really just flown under my radar until that point that I started reacting to it, I knew I wanted to do Lana Del Rey. But more so than just getting to know her as an artist, it was really just getting to this album. I've heard so many phenomenal things about this album, and more specifically, one of my favorite songs of the last 10 years is on this album. Now, I know that's kind of crazy to think, right? Like, Jerry Bees, how can you have one of your favorite songs in the last 10 years off an album if you've never heard it? Well, I am an idiot. And also, you know, it's just weird how you engage with music sometimes, I guess, right? I think more so than any other album, because every Lana fan has their favorite album, but I do hear more often than not that this is Lana's best album from an objective standpoint. Like, any passerby can come hear this record as opposed to any other and go, yeah, no, that one's way better. But who knows? Like, it's not really about that here on the channel. It's what I vibe with, what I get out of it, and what I get from you guys. So if you've been here since the first Lana video, thank you so much. Really appreciate it. And hopefully I do well by you in reacting to this, because I'm excited for it. This is what I've been waiting for this whole Lana journey. Me too. Venice Bitch would kill a Victorian child. So one of the things to keep in mind here, as this has become more or less a running bit here on the channel, Jack Antonoff is one of the contributing producers to this album. I don't know if he was the main producer. I knew that well before we started the journey, that he was involved in this record. And I only just say running bit because, you know, I tend to make a big deal out of, oh, Jack Antonoff's not as great as everybody says he is, or, you know, it's just like, oh, Jack Antonoff and Taylor Swift. Yeah, we haven't heard that before. But this, I don't know if I've heard before, right? In its final form as NFR, I suppose. Lust for Life is still your number one. Yeah, I really did appreciate where we left things off with Lust for Life. Honeymoon, I think, when looking at the rest of the albums and how they stack up against one another, definitely is one of the weaker ones for me. And then I still really appreciate all of Dan Auerbach's work on Ultraviolence. I think that's really in the lead for me right now. So maybe if you're in the chat or the comments and you're saying like, oh, this is gonna clear Ultraviolence, well, I guess we're just gonna have to wait and see. Please do let me know your thoughts on my thoughts as I react to this album. If you want to catch any of my other Lana videos, there should be a playlist made for it on my channel, so have at it. If you ever want to catch us live, make sure you click one of the links in the description. And if you ever want to see any of my future videos before they come out on YouTube in uncut reactions, go ahead and check out my Patreon, where you can get exactly that for $1. Thought I was going to have a prop. I don't have a prop. I'd like a prop for that. So this is it. This is Norman fucking Rockwell, hour and 7 minutes long. That's how Lana likes to keep things. 14 songs. Came out in 2019. And then I guess one more quick aside about the album as a whole and the namesake. Lana Del Rey eats up Americana for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Norman Rockwell, obviously being the really Americana artist, you know, painter. He was essentially synonymous with, like, the visuals of mid-century America. And obviously here, right, we got Lana Del Rey embracing her man with the American flag right behind it, right? So all that still keeps, all that is still tracking for me with Lana Del Rey's themes across all of her albums. Like I said, she really can't get enough of it. Now, I cannot comment whether or not Norman Rockwell's middle name was fucking. All right, you're going to have to check the Wikipedia page out about that. And looking at the track list here, I guess we'll just get into it, and I do have a little bit of preamble here. This first song is going to be more of a review than a reaction. So I've been alluding to this for a while. I don't know how much of it I've kept in videos or I've just kept in the VOD for the stream. But I always say that there was one song on Norman fucking Rockwell that was one of my favorites. and that I really want to get to it to see it in the context of the rest of the album, and that is the titular track here, Norman fucking Rockwell. I think this song to me was the right place at the right time. Or maybe the wrong place at the wrong time, because I found this song in like the thralls of lockdown in early 2020, right? And like it wasn't it wasn't the worst experience I've ever had in my entire life, but I don't know. I was going through some shit, right? Heavy mental health shit during that, and I think we all were. And I heard Norman fucking Rockwell, the song, and I don't know what it was about it. I had never really listened to Lana Del Rey before, or really since, up until we started this journey. But I think there was something about it, at least at the time, where it wasn't like anything I had kind of heard from Lana Del Rey before, right? You know, you had heard songs, you had heard, you know, Cola, you know, Summertime Sadness or something like that. But this sounded so different, and it was like kind of optimistic in the sense that like beautiful things could still be made when we're all kind of dying. But this is it. This is Norman fucking Rockwell.
Goddamn man child, you fucked me so good that I almost said I love you. Cause you're just a man, it's just what you do. Your head in your hands as you color me blue. Yeah, you're just kid, even though you stand 6'2". Self-loathing poet, resident Laurel, can you know it all? You make me
Don't remember catching that last bit. Man, those horns sound so good. So, ladies and gentlemen, that is the titular track, the first song off of Shut Up, the first song off of NFR here. And I've said this before on the channel. I really don't even believe that there's really such a thing as a perfect album. Near perfect, maybe. Sure, fine. But perfect album, you've got to nail the landing on every single aspect. But that being said, I think it's way easier to have a perfect song. Norman fucking Rockwell, off the album of the same name, is a perfect song. It is a perfect song. I found this song when I don't know. I just needed to feel like something, right? I think lockdown hit a lot of us pretty hard in a lot of different ways, and like I was almost optimistic after listening to this. And I mean, everything from her voice, it's just the piano, and then obviously on this listen, right, I'm catching those horn sounds coming at the end of it. It's just so deep and beautiful and amazing. And another aspect, other than just how it sounds, right? This is, I think, some of her most poignant, just best songwriting, in my opinion. I mean, you fucked me so good that I almost said I love you. Don't know half the shit that you put me through, so that rhymes, right? But this, to open up a song with this is like an immediate intrigue. Because it's like, okay, you're obviously very intimate, but only really in one way, right? You act like a kid even though you stand 6'2". Your poetry's bad and you blame the news. So I don't know who this is talking about. Your poetry's bad and you blame the news. Was she just with like, you know, some like poetry nerd in like Williamsburg or something? Like, I don't know. I don't know how that goes. I'm gonna take a stab at this real quick. One of the things that I think explains why I appreciated this so much when I heard it, that maybe I have a little bit more perspective on and a little bit more context for just in all of that I listen to and what I like since I first heard this song, because I really haven't heard this song since 2020, right? It gives me a lot of Randy Newman. So if you don't know, Randy Newman is the "you got a friend in me," right? But he's so much bigger and better than just Toy Story. His discography is one of my favorites. Used a lot of satire and like dark comedy in his songs, and it's usually just him and a piano with some horns in the background, right? So while I think the melody and the chord progression differs from Randy Newman a little bit, I think the songwriting and just her voice and the piano with some of the horns ties into that. But a little bit more specifically, Randy Newman also made a career out of painting a picture of America, very much in the same way that Lana does. I think Lana romanticizes it maybe a little bit too much, but I do see this thread between the two of them, or at least between this track and a lot of what I love about Randy Newman. So yeah, I mean, again, banger, will never not be one. Yes, the Monk theme song guy, yes. And he wrote a song about Cleveland. Gonna move on here. We're not talking about Randy Newman. We're talking about Lana Del Rey. Everything else here is new, so let's go. Mariners Apartment Complex. Like Ken Griffey, Ichiro, Big Dumper Cal Raleigh.
You took my sadness out of context at the Mariners Apartment Complex. I ain't no candle in the wind. I'm the poet, the lightning, the thunder, kind of girl who's gonna make you wonder who you are and who you've been. You lose your way, just take my hand. You're lost at sea, then I'll come back. I'm your man. I'm your man. They mistook my kindness for weakness. I fucked up, I know weakness. All the things that make me who I am. And who I am. 'Cause even in the dark I feel your resistance. You can see my heart burning in the distance. Baby, 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 I'm your man. That's where I am. I'm your man. Catch over. Are you ready for it? Are you ready for it?
What's happening? What is this? What's going on? What is this? It was a little bit jarring just to hear an acoustic guitar really being out in front in a Lana Del Rey song, because not to say that hasn't happened before, but I feel like it's way far back in the mix. You know, nobody's like tabbing and noodling like crazy on the acoustic guitar, but it's very apparent. And we're not getting like these orchestral movements so far. Because I feel like in most Lana Del Rey albums, we're getting the orchestral vibey shit real early on. And between that first song, which again I had heard before, now this being, you know, all else is equal, we're back to hearing Lana Del Rey songs for the first time. I am extremely excited to see what we get into, because this was great. This was so good. He's praising Jack, and he doesn't even realize, obviously referring to Jack Antonoff here. I was just about to say Jack Antonoff, producer on this track, absolutely cooked. You know, my boy really loves producing horns, and I love the horn sounds at the end of that first track, but these electric guitars that come in at the end out of nowhere to kind of just let everything breathe a little bit, the way that Lana Del Rey's music kind of has before. You know, we just get these kind of sound baths, these soundscapes that kind of breathe in a little bit. And here it was all very different from the guitars we're hearing in Ultraviolence. You know, I think, you know, I'll defend the pros of Dan Auerbach and Patrick Carney from the Black Keys all day long, but even then it was still like you heard it as blues, but now I'm just hearing this as Lana's electric guitars. You know, it's electric guitars flavored towards Lana, not necessarily just, okay, let's keep it within a certain genre or subgenre and kind of work around Lana. This is working with Lana's energy here. And I know that might be a little too broad or a little too high level, but that's where it's coming from right now. This album is all atmosphere. I would argue that Lana is a very atmospheric kind of artist. That's kind of why you come to her work. And if you really like it, that's got to be a huge aspect to it. Venice Bitch. So everybody's saying that if I were a Victorian child, I would die after listening to this. So let's go.
Ice cream, ice queen, I dream in jeans and leather. Live stream, I'm sweet for you. You write, I tour, we make it work. You're beautiful and I'm insane. We're American made. Give me Hallmark. Rockwell.
You said it.
No hype under our covers. It's just me.
Is Tom Morello on this album? So I wasn't there, but I can almost pretty much tell you exactly how this song came to be. Right? Here's my attempt at explaining all this. Lana Del Rey was listening to Maggot Brain by Funkadelic, and then came up to Jack Antonoff and said, "Hey, I want one that sounds like this." And he said, "I got you." And that's exactly what happened. I vibe with it, but I need to be careful because those beat boops are going to trigger a migraine on my worst days. I don't know if they overstayed their welcome so much because at 9 minutes, right? I mean, we started the song. I didn't even know that the song was going to be like, basically 10 minutes long, right? I don't know if the electronic bits overstayed their welcome because I was just so enthralled by these sounds coming out of a Lana Del Rey song. it's a little crazy. You know, I people were saying like, oh, Victorian child, you're gonna die. I didn't get so much of that, but in the sense that I'm hearing like psychedelic rock, you know, just like little flavorings of psychedelic rock through a Lana Del Rey song. And it's not a subtle or like low effort push to it. It's really kind of all encompassing rather. I mean, at 10 minutes, right? This is one of those songs that I think, at least lyrically, is going to have to stick with me a little bit more as far as, you know, maybe the connecting some dots between songs in the album. But, you know, somebody had said that there was a Robert Frost mention here, right? Mentioning Norman Rockwell by name. And then also another thing that we saw a lot of in Lust for Life in that, in the second song, you know, something about like Candle in the Wind. I'm going to say that that's like an Elton John reference there. You know what I mean? So she's very quick to make references, or at least references that I see to, I really like her idols of the past. And I think mainly that was music in Lust for Life. But, you know, here all the references here are a little bit more general, I suppose. Give me Hallmark holidays. Nothing gold can stay, Robert Frost. Yeah, I see, but I disagree with that because they told Pony Boy, you know, to stay golden because like gold's like forever, right? You know, Outsiders. I saw the movie, kind of sucked. The book was way better. I agree, but that's literally a direct quote. Hey guys, it's Editing Bees here, and I just wanted to stop this real quick to remind you all that while sometimes I may take issue with a quote correct attribution, other times it's way more important to follow the facts and pay attention to where those facts are coming from, and that is why I want to say thank you to our partners at Ground News. Ground News helps me sift through the noise of partisan nonsense by combining news from around the world in one place so you can compare the political biases therein for yourself. For every news source, you can see if they have a political bias, how reliable their reporting is, and perhaps most importantly, who owns them. Their blind spot feature is probably my favorite aspect of Ground News, as it highlights news that may be disproportionately covered by just one side of the political spectrum. I find that Ground News is the perfect tool to get you thinking freely about the news coverage that inundates our timelines and really our daily lives. Click the link in my description to get 40% off the Vantage subscription to Ground News, which unlocks unlimited article access, ownership data, and factuality ratings. Remember, your subscription not only helps my channel, but it also supports Ground News as they make the media landscape more transparent and keep you more well-informed. Again, click the link in my description to get 40% off the Vantage subscription for Ground News. Now, back to the video.
I like to
Fuck
see
it, I love you.
everything in neon. Drink lime green, stay up till dawn. Maybe the way that I'm living is killing me. Dream a little dream of me. Make me in a song that's sweet. Turn the radio on, dancing to a pop song. Fuck it, I like you. Fuck it, I like you. You moved to California, but it's just a state of mind. And you know everyone adores you. You can't feel it and you're tired. Baby, wish that you would hold me or just say that. Fuck it, I like you. Fuck it, I like you. I really do. Return from California's more than just a state of mind. I met you on and out of time. California drink you up my money and my life. Drugs in my veins.
Do people usually say that this is Jack Antonoff's best producing effort? Because that's what I'm kind of getting out of it. Yeah. I'll put it to you this way. I've never listened to a Lana Del Rey album. How should I put this? I've never listened to a Lana Del Rey album where Lana wasn't the main focus. And maybe this is me just picking up on things that aren't Lana, but usually Lana albums don't leave me with a ton of room to really pay attention to things too much that aren't what Lana's saying and how she's saying them. Now, obviously, her voice has been incredible in all of these. We already know that. The dulcet tones of one Lizzie Grant. But this is like, he's doing so much shit. It's almost like Lana, like, it. You know what? Like I said earlier, it's almost like they're producing through Lana. So it's all kind of coming to me as one thing. It's not Lana and then where the maybe orchestral bits are coming from, or, you know, how they're going to work in a hip hop beat here. It's really, really, really been quite something so far. And it's not just the sounds that they're choosing. So like a lot of these electronic beat boops in the background and these psychedelic tones coming out of these guitars, you know, just like similar guitar tones that you'd hear in the genre. Not doing too much here, obviously a lot in Venice Bitch, but not so much here. But they're still there, just how they're weaving in and out. Something shifted with this album for sure. I mean, it's unlike anything else, and it's so apparent from the start of it. And keep in mind, I think these last two songs have sounded very different from the two songs that came before them. Mariner's Apartment Complex kind of started off, you know, just with those guitars, but then kind of got some more electronic stuff coming out towards the end. And so far, like 2.5 songs have all kind of sounded the same, or sounded similar in terms of production and instrumentation and all that. Whereas, you know, the title track still kind of holding its place as its own thing. We'll see if those sounds are kind of revisited later on in the album, but I'm loving it so far. Wait, whoa. Doin Time was on this album? The Sublime cover? I thought it was just the single for the biopic. As we're going on through the record here, we have Doin Time, and I know that Lana had covered Doin Time by Sublime. I've heard that song before. I was very excited to hear that because Sublime, I don't talk about them too much on the channel, but Sublime is one of my Mount Rushmore bands. You might, you know, if you're a cooler person than I, you may turn a blind eye to me and go, oh, I don't need to listen to you. You like Sublime. Fuck you. Sublime's great. I think Bradley Nowell was one of the greatest songwriters of his generation, gone well before his time. And I really did appreciate the cover. But with them being one of my goats, you know, it's really hard to kind of stack up with them. And when I hear a cover, like, okay, you're gonna cover Sublime, especially Doin Time. Doin Time is such an iconic track from them. So again, this one's gonna be a little bit more of a review than a reaction. But oftentimes when I react to songs that I've listened to here on the channel before, I do tend to get more out of them because I'm just, you know, a little bit more analytical with what's going on. Fuck you.
Me and Louis, we gonna run to the party and dance to the rhythm. It gets harder.
Right.
Me and my girl, we got this relationship. Party and dance to the rhythm. It gets harder.
Oh, they need to put the record scratches in there.
Or take this veil from off me. Show them how we come off the shelf. Summertime and the living's easy. Want to tell you that she's evil. Most definitely evil. Wondering her head underwater. Summertime.
There it is. There's the record scratches.
Summertime rhythm, it gets harder.
Oh, way to kill the instrumentals there. That was actually pretty cool there. Yeah, valiant effort. Valiant effort, absolutely. You know, like I said, Sublime's one of my all-time favorite bands. This is up there as just one of their all-time classic songs, and she did a very good job. I kept it pretty faithful to the original, you know, but there's like little things that I'm like missing that, you know, it's hard to listen to this as it is, as its own thing, just being so familiar with the original. You know, this line, like, show them how we come off the shelf. You know, Brad just absolutely leans into the vocals there and kind of fries them a little bit and just screams the show them how part. which, you know, she keeps it to her own thing, right? It's Lana. She doesn't necessarily do shit like that. Kind of brought the vocal power towards the end here, which I really appreciated. Better than the original? No. Will it ever replace it? Maybe for certain people. I think it, for me as a Sublime fan, you know, when you see somebody that, you know, Lana's not a reggae artist. She's not a ska artist, or really even like a hip hop artist or a punk artist. And, you know, Sublime kind of molded and blended all of those genres together so seamlessly. I think it's always cool when they cover something from a different genre or from an older artist. And if it's one of your favorite artists, you know, if you love Sublime, this gives new listeners a chance to find out about Sublime. And this is a great track to do it with. I think this is one of Sublime's most successful tracks. See, like, I'm missing, like, that part. So good. It's so good. Let's get into Love Song.
In the car, in the backseat, I'm your baby. We go fast, we go so fast, we don't move through you. Oh, be my once in a lifetime. Lying on your chest, in my body dress, I'm a fucking mess, but the sound of our love song. Dream a dream, here's a scene, touch me anywhere, 'cause I'm your baby. Oh, be my once in a lifetime. Lying on your chest, in my body dress, I'm a fucking mess, but the taste, the touch, the way we love, it all comes down to make the sound of our love song.
So what I've been gathering through as much of the lyrics as I've been able to grab, like I said, it's been a little bit distracting because it's almost like I have to relearn how to listen to Lana Del Rey to a point, just because everything's been sounding so different, if albeit just subtly, with a lot of what Jack's been doing, and that was apparent here with those low bass moments just coming in at like the top of these verses or top of these choruses. We're still talking about relationships, we're still talking about love, we're still talking about significant others, but not in the same way. It's not so much of the I love you because you're dangerous and you deal coke, or I love you because, like, I really appreciate the makeup sex after we fight. It's melancholic to a point. Like I feel like it, like they're like she's found a type of peace, but doesn't necessarily know what to do with that because everything before hasn't been very peaceful. Maybe that's what I was kind of getting through in this song, like not really knowing how to be happy. Because I mean the lyrics are just like, I want to be with you, have every single bit of me, right? That's what I want to do here. But it sounds a little bit more sad than that. Now, obviously, is that to convey sadness? You know, it's there's a lot of minor keys and whatnot. It may just try to give calm. I don't know. I think the lyrics on this one feel less theatrical and more like it comes straight from her journal. I felt that way when I first listened. That's a great way to put it. This is. What's the word I'm looking for? It's not diuretic. We've talked about this before. It's not diuretic. Diuristic. It is diuristic. Lana Del Rey does not make me pee. All right? This is not diuretic. It's diuristic. It's a more mature outlook than her earlier work. Absolutely. I feel like there were flashes of more mature songwriting. Not to say that it's always been very immature, but there's a sense of the songwriting where, like, really, like, if you want to talk about like immature, like, I know people kind of harp on Lana, you know, especially for like some of the lyrics she had in like Ultraviolence, for them being like especially maybe campy. You know, she was very snarky in the first song, like pretty much like the entire song, but that was like it. Like I still felt it was a little bit more mature, like you were saying.
Cinnamon in my teeth from your kiss. You touch touching me. I win. There's things I wanna say to you, but I'll just let you live. Like if you hold me without hurting me, you'll be the first who ever did. Hold me, love me, touch me, I'll be the first who ever did. Kerosene in my hands, you made me mad, on fire again. Touch me, I'll be the first who ever did. There's things I wanna say to you, but I'll just let you live. Like if you'd be the first who ever did.
This is just Jack playing around now. But that was Cinnamon Girl. I mistakenly thought this was going to be a Neil Diamond cover, but it's just the same name here. Which is, as soon as it started, I was like, wait, what? Cinnamon in my teeth from your kiss. You're touching me. Like, I don't... This doesn't seem like something Neil Diamond would say. And when I think cinnamon in my teeth, I'm thinking, oh shit, the cinnamon challenge. We're doing the cinnamon challenge out here. Lana Del Rey cinnamon challenge confirmed. Sorry. Neil Young. Neil Diamond wishes. So it's not even a Neil Diamond song, a Neil Young song. But at any rate, it seems like that idea that I had in the song prior is still ringing true here. You know, it is really all said right here. Like, if you hold me without hurting me, you'll be the first who ever did. So she's really trying to find her peace with somebody here, but is, kind of ambivalent, I guess. She isn't quite at peace with the whole thing because of past traumas, because of past relationships. And it's kind of like, it's got to come to a head at some point, right? You either have to give in, you have to fall in love, right? There's a reason why they call it falling, right? Because you just give in. And it's a very vulnerable thing, but, you kind of do that in hopes that you'll be caught at the end of it, right? That you'll be taken care of, and then that the person on the other end's doing the same thing to you. We had 3.5 minutes of the song with lyrics, and then the rest was just Jack. He was like, ooh, I bought this toy at, Guitar Center. I really want to use it. I feel like there's a lot of that happening in this. How to Disappear. Isn't that a Radiohead song? Oh, it's Lana Del Rey. Don't talk about Radiohead.
Haven't seen you around here lately. All of the guys tell me lies, but you don't. You just crack another beer. This is how to disappear. But I love that man like nobody can. He moves mountains and pounds them to ground again. I watch the guys getting high as they fight for the things that they hold deep. I got a key to 2 cats in the yard, the California sun and the movie stars. I watch the skies getting, I'm always gone to be right here. No one's going anywhere.
So, not a Radiohead song. That was How to Disappear. And I don't know if we can make a comment as far as how this relates to the theme in the last couple songs. I felt like a lot of Lust for Life, especially maybe towards the end, we got into some topics that aren't necessarily very Lana Del Rey. She tried to tackle some more like, social commentary, societal shit that I really appreciated and that I thought was kind of interesting to get out of her, especially just because that's what it kind of seemed, right? This whole idea that there was the lust part of the album and the life part of the album. But this isn't lust. This is I think using mature before to maybe describe some of the songwriting was probably improper, because that's meaning to say or maybe implying that her other work is immature, and I wouldn't necessarily call it that. Maybe work with a little bit more levity to it. I mean, like, Yayo isn't the most serious song on the fucking planet. High Up the Beach isn't the most serious song on the planet. But this is, like, striking me as so much more emotional. And here, we're talking about, hey, this guy disappeared, or maybe you disappeared from them. And then to maybe flash forward, we're kind of at the end of Paradise here again, where you're kind of reaping the benefits if you just kind of wait it out, have some patience. You're always going to be right there. That there are rewards for sticking through with it. My take is that the men in this song are disappearing into their vices, or alcohol, while Lana is kind of being steady force in their lives, where there's some sense of stability. Now whether these are like, maybe vignettes or just like little blurbs, little snapshots in time of certain characters. Although I think you could probably trust that this is all coming from like the same narrative voice here. No, but I think the takeaway was so far with at least this part of the album, and I think it's stretching true through the rest of the project, is that it's at least hitting me as much more emotional, maybe not using as much flowery language, but just being incredibly, incredibly down to earth. And with 2 songs in a row that sound a little bit more like Lana Del Rey than not. I don't know why she's got to make a song called California. Isn't, like, I swear, like, Lana Del Rey is like the Anthony Kiedis of female pop stars. When in doubt, just write a song about California. Just fucking nope. Write a song about, I don't know, anything else. Nope. It's got to be California. I just know that she's been waiting to use this title. What's she been waiting for? I mean, it just kind of goes without saying, you know what I mean?
You don't ever have to go faster than your fastest pace, or faster than my fastest cars. I shouldn't have done it, but I read it in your letter. I didn't say a thing. 2, 3, 4. Oh, I'll pick you up if you come back to America. Just places, we'll have a party, we'll dance till dawn. I'll pick up all of your Vogues and all of your Rolling Stones, your favorite. You don't ever have to be stronger than you really are when you're lying in my arms. And honey, you don't ever have to act cooler than you. Oh, I'll pick you up if you come back to America. Just hit me up, 'cause this is crazy love. I'll catch you on the I'll pick you up if you come back to America. Just hit me up. You should just hit me up.
So that was California. Not an Anthony Kiedis song. I really kind of like the way that the song just naturally kind of built up towards the end there. The choruses were kind of long here, and the song's about, it's 5 minutes long, so a little bit longer, but that progression towards the end really helps the journey. At least it didn't really feel like it was overstaying its welcome. And by this point in the Lana Del Rey journey, I'm just like so used to the slower pace of things and just kind of allow myself to enjoy it because it usually just sounds nice, if nothing else. But I think there's probably a lot of ways you could go as far as interpreting this. To me, this is somebody who's not necessarily in Lana's life anymore, or at least not at the moment, and seeing California as, kind of her sanctuary and all the things that it's done for her, and extending that to, somebody in need, this whole, you said to a friend that you wish you were doing better. So, it's like, hey, if convenience, if you're ever back in the States, come hang out. We'll go get some Angel's Envy off the top shelf. We'll go get some, I don't know, green apple Ciroc. I don't know. Is that top shelf? I don't think that's top shelf, but you get what I mean, right? No, this is, it's weird because when this album first started, it was like so much whiplash and so many different sounds for her. And now we're kind of getting back into the regular sound of Lana. And I don't think I've ever said this outright, and this is not necessarily a negative criticism of Lana at all, but there isn't so much of an evolution with this discography journey as I would have liked to see, or probably may have been expecting. A lot of it is she just knows herself so goddamn well, and I think that's the takeaway. So maybe you're not seeing an evolution of different sounds or different vocal performances, or in how I think there's evolution, and obviously with this, and how she's maybe writing lyrics, and you could even extend that same idea to Lust for Life, just in kind of how those songs are kind of laid out. But just because, you're not seeing a ton of, different changes over a band or certain artist discography does not make it a bad thing. I will always defend AC/DC till the day that I fucking die. Everybody says every song sounds the exact same. They've been making the same song for 60 years or however long they've been a band for. And I say, well, when you got one song that kicks ass, go with what you know. And then, maybe throw on some Hell's Bells onto it. The next best American record.
Day in the sun underneath my architecture. To the houses of the homeless smoking on them cigarettes.
A little Led Zeppelin reference.
And we were so obsessed with writing the next best American record that we gave all we had till the time we got to bed, 'cause we knew we could. It was just that good. Whatever's on tonight, I just wanna party with you. To bang us out tonight. Yesterday and underneath my architecture. He was 70s in spirit, 90s in his frame of mind. And we were so obsessed with writing the next best American record that would. Whatever's on tonight, I just wanna party with you. To bang us out tonight. Oh, yeah. It's you. All the roads lead to you. Everything I want and do. Every night and every day. I see you for who you really are. Whatever's on tonight, I just wanna party with you. To bang us out tonight.
proper electronics on that one, and the drop was fantastic. Yeah, I was not expecting that drop to hit me as much as it did, but Jack's kind of been cooking everything else here, so I'm really not surprised. Again, you know, like we have these references. I'm taking this as a Led Zeppelin reference here. And, you know, we're talking about the Eagles down here. As far as this theme that we saw a lot in Lust for Life, as far as her like throwing in these nods to her influences of the past. Now, let me say this right here. Or let me ask this. This was supposed to be on Lust for Life because that makes a lot of sense. Not only in how it sounds, but how it's written as well. Because I still like the production on it. Little long, right? Didn't have to be quite so long. Yeah, I don't know if the Lust for Life sounds come through as much, but it definitely in lyrics. Not only in the references to, you know, older bands or like older songs or albums or something like that. My baby used to dance underneath my architecture. So, you know, just using innuendo, which is not really something that we've seen through the bulk of this. So I could believe you and really even accept if that's the case, that this was a reject off of Lust for Life. But I wouldn't even call it a reject. I feel like it would have fit perfectly there, and it fits fine right here. I mean, this isn't as un-Lana as maybe some of the first songs on this record were. Yeah. That's what I'm saying. Like reject. Topanga's Hot Tonight is Heroin's opening lyric too. Yeah. I was gonna say. I was gonna comment on that again. I'm like, wait, no. We discussed that this isn't Boy Meets World here. That this is a place on the planet Earth. So this is a top Lana song, the greatest. Could it be the greatest Lana song ever? Wouldn't that be very convenient?
I miss Long Beach and I miss you, babe. I miss dancing with you the most of all. I miss the bar where the Beach Boys would go. Those nights were on fire, we couldn't get higher. We didn't know that we had it all, but nobody wants you before the fall. And I wasted. Don't leave, I just need a wake-up call. I'm facing the greatest loss of them all. Me and my friends, we miss rock and roll. I want shit to feel just like it used to. When baby I was doing nothing the most of all. The greatest loss of them all. The culture is lit. Oh, I just missed a fireball. LA's in flames, it's getting hot. Kanye West is blonde and gone. Life on Mars ain't just a song. Oh, the live stream's almost on.
I need more Lana Del Rey piano ballads in my life right now. Yeah, that was awesome. So it really started out here for me in this first verse where I'm like, this is just all the Lana that we've seen recently. I miss Long Beach. Let's talk about the Beach Boys. Get it? Kokomo was a song, and I've been enjoying those references, but it is also like, this is so like on the nose with what she's been doing between these two albums. But it again, it's fucking Jack. It's fucking Jack, right? I don't know whose idea was to really lean into like more piano songs here, but those, I mean, oh my God, the way she's handling these melodies and just the piano in her voice is powerful, but then just as it drops and more instruments come in and it's so beautiful. And it sucks because, you know, she's talking about all the things that she's missed, right? So it's either things that she's missed are already out of her lives, or she's looking at things that are about to be out of her life for whichever reason, you know? And so here we're kind of talking about a, you know, end of the world type things, right? Maybe we're piggybacking on some of the things that we saw at the end of, you know, Lust for Life, at least towards the end of that album with, you know, some environmental advocacy here. You know, Hawaii just missed a fireball. LA is in flames. It's getting hot. Kanye is blonde and gone. I think this was in the middle of maybe Kanye's fall from favor, as it were, putting it mildly. Life on Mars just ain't just a song. And all this talk about us colonizing Mars. Oh, the live stream's almost on. So like here, it's like here's all this other shit that I romanticize about. You know, I miss the music in New York. I miss, you know, Long Beach and all this other stuff that she's romanticizing. But all this other stuff kind of brings us back into reality. Snap back to reality. Oh, there goes gravity, right? As a blonde man once said. I think the fireball lyric was referencing when North Korea was going to nuke Hawaii. I remember when Hawaii got that, like, false nuke alert. Like, everybody in Hawaii got that false nuke alert on their phones. Anyway, I'm moving on. This is Bartender.
To their house parties, Crosby, Stills, and Nash's play. Wine is flowing, car I drive. I'm just trying to keep my love alive with my bartender. Hold me all night, bartender.
Chicken tender.
And when it lasts, the day is done. I grab my keys. I bought me a truck in the middle of the night. It is fine, and our love sweet enough on the vine. By the tender, by the tender, by the tender, hold me all night. By the tender, keep love alive. By the tender.
You know, speaking of Bartender, we really should have started a drinking game where every time she references a classic rock band. That honestly is the only thing I'm even growing a little bit tired of. Everything else was great. Just like at this point, I'm like, I get it, you know, but outside of that, some people didn't like the poetry inside of me is warm like a gun. I'm fine with that. It's pretty clear picture there. You know, when a gun is warm, it just got done shooting some rounds off, so obviously she's in the thralls of maybe some real creative energy that she's putting out, and I think that comes through in the song as well. I'm getting the sense of all the ladies in the canyon wearing white at their tea parties, playing games of levitation. You know, maybe all these socialites that are trying to, you know, climb up the rung of the social ladder, you know, meditate in their garden, doing all this mindful shit that, you know, Californians are famous for doing. You know, bought me a truck in the middle of the night. They don't yet know what car I drive. Is something, it gives me like, you know, she's kind of maybe tired of the fame aspect, wants a part of her life to remain private, or at least just not in the spotlight. So, you know, these other ladies, they can have their parties, they can be socialites, but for me right now, it's the only person I need to be with is the bartender, giving me my cherry Coke right now, just to have this moment for me. That's what I got out of it. I do really like the 60 mph on PCH drive here. So if you're unaware, PCH is probably referring to the Pacific Coast Highway. That's out there in, you guessed it, California. But no, I did like this one. You know, knowing that it was going to start with piano, because, you know, I'm hearing piano. I'm waiting for some drop, and we don't get it. So that's, as far, again, album placement. Why listening to albums is a nice way of listening to music sometimes, because in these other, you know, piano ballads, you know, they tend to build up and maybe drop to a certain point where we get more bass, we get some more horns or something like that. And I'm listening to this thinking that that's going to be the same thing, and it's kind of subverting my expectations a little bit. But all the while, I'm staying focused on the song, and I'm very quite involved with it. So yeah, this one works for me quite well. I get it. See, now look, CSN is much better than CSNY. I mean, it's all pretty good. Crosby, Stills, Nash, and Young, pick your poison. But you used the title of a Neil Young song earlier, but didn't include Neil Young in the reference to Crosby, Stills, Nash. So maybe Lana's like me and really appreciates the CSN part of CSNY a little bit more. I don't know. Those white boys were fucking crazy, let me tell you. I've never seen a group of men so utterly talented that hated each other more than those 3 to 4 guys. Thought the tut-tut line was mimicking a gun click. Maybe you could pull that back into, I guess, the reference to the gun there. I think that was just kind of her being silly with the delivery, maybe being a little bit irreverent. Paparazzi camera clicking. So that kind of actually, that might even be a little bit better, kind of tying into the whole, like, really appreciating her lonesome here, I guess. You know, maybe writing poetry bar side to get away from the paparazzi. Okay, I can see that. Happiness is a butterfly. It's also a word.
Do you want me or do
a feeling.
You not? I heard one thing, now I'm hearing another. Happiness is a butterfly, try to catch it like every night. It escapes from my hands into moonlight. Every day is a lullaby. Then what's the worst that can happen to a girl who's already hurt? I'm already hurt. If he's as bad as they say, then I guess I'm cursed. Looking into his eyes, I think he's already hurt. He's already hurt. Sitting in your sweatshirt, crying in the backseat. Ooh, I just wanna dance with you. Hollywood and Vine, Black Rabbit in the alley. Dance with you, baby. I just wanna dance with you. Roll down to Sunset in the truck. I'll pick you up if you're in town on the corner. Happiness is a butterfly. We should catch it while dancing high. There's more than my music, I'm crazy. If he's a serial killer, then what's the worst that can happen to a girl who's already hurt? I'm already hurt. If he's as bad as they say, then I guess I'm cursed. Looking into his eyes, I think he's already hurt. He's sitting in your sweatshirt, crying in the backseat. Ooh, I just wanna dance with you. I just wanna dance with you. I just wanna dance with you. Baby, I just wanna dance.
Not even close. Yeah, this one was super duper good. I like, there were points in it where, you know, because it's mainly piano ballad, right? Okay, we get it. We've seen that on the album. I love it. It's cool, great. And unlike the last song, we are getting those like other elements back in the background. And it's like, I don't know where they're going to come from, because they've been coming from either the right or the left channel, or they're coming in stereo. And I'm like, well, or like mono. And I'm like, well, what the fuck? Like, what the hell was going on at all? And I don't know if there's a clarinet in there, or they're just playing like that electric guitar just in a way that sounds like a clarinet, but then I'm hearing other horns. So then I'm thinking, why isn't it a clarinet? But that clarinet sounds so much like the guitar that comes in right after it. Jack, what the fuck have you been doing this entire time? The level of cooking is remarkable. The kitchen smells amazing. The kitchen smells so good. And then here also lyrically, it's one of the best on the album, which I think it's running true to being one of the best in her entire discography. So like earlier in the album, right, it's, you know, she's kind of weighing the options of, you know, do I like want to get back into a relationship with somebody? Like I just want to like enjoy some peace in a relationship. You know, if you know, you hold me, you'd be the only one who's never hurt me, right? That kind of a thing. You know, she always gets hurt. And so if he's a serial killer, then what's the worst that could happen to a girl who's already hurt? But then seeing that he's hurt as well, and then there's this commiseration, right? Commiserating. Commiseration. I don't know. Let me know. But like there's almost like you're hurt, I'm hurt. Let's just dance together. Let's just enjoy this moment together. To where, you know, it's Lana earlier in the album being quite ambivalent, you know, just like, well, you know, I don't really know, which really sets up some differences between how she kind of handled things, or at least in songs from much earlier in the discography, where it's like, life's a fucking party. I'm here for a good time, not a fucking long time. Let's go. Whereas this, it's not necessarily like, okay, you're hurt, and so maybe that comes with some self-sabotaging tendencies or something like that, but I'm kind of the same way, and as long as we can just be together and work that out and just dance, just enjoy each other's time, that is what I mean when it's like maybe more mature, maybe a little bit more emotional than how I've kind of taken a lot of what we've listened to from her before. I think that this is in many ways Norman fucking Rockwell Part 2 in terms of the song. It really did a lot of the same things that the titular track did for me. This one was really, really good. Yeah. Also, this is probably just a Spotify thing right here. Says for credits, Lana Del Rey, Jack Antonoff, and Rick. Just Rick. Anyway, last song. Excited to officially get to know this album in every facet. Here's the last song.
I was reading.
Hope is a dangerous thing for a woman like me to have, but I have it. This is a Midwest emo song if I'd ever seen one.
Some errands, and I got to thinking that I thought maybe I'd get less stressed if I was tested less like all of these debutantes. No, I'm not. That I'm not. I've been tearing around in my fucking nightgown, 24/7 Sylvia Plath, writing in blood on my walls 'cause the ink in my pen don't work in my notepad. I had 15-year dances, church basement romances, yeah, I've got spilling my guts with the Bowery bums is the only love I've ever known. I've been tearing up town in my fucking white gown like a goddamn sociopath. Shaking my ass is the only thing that's got this black narcissist off my back. She couldn't care less, and I never cared more. So there's no more to say about that, except hope is a dangerous thing for a woman like me to have. I've been tearing around in my fucking nightgown, 24/7 Sylvia Plath, writing in blood on your walls 'cause the ink in my hope is a dangerous thing for a woman like me to have. Hope is a dangerous thing for a woman like me to have.
Hello, Lana. What the fuck?
Have it.
So this is another one on this album that I think probably the most glaring example of a song that I'd have to really go back and really analyze, because there's so much going on here. If poetry is like a warm gun, then this is a Ruger that just got spent at the range. I mean, the 24/7 Sylvia Plath, writing in blood on the walls, just all these other like very poetic scenes that she's kind of describing here. And I'm probably missing some more pointed examples of what's going on, but this is, at least to me, the most self-deprecating Lana's ever been. Or if it's not self-deprecation, then it's just brutal honesty with herself in her situation and how she's feeling. Now, earlier in this, as I was reacting to it, hello, it's the most famous woman you know on the iPad, calling from beyond the grave. I just want to say, hi, Dad. I just like, there's just hearing an iPad in a song that is otherwise just so brutal and devastating just caught me out a bit, right? This is a first time listen. Maybe this grows on me, but like, I just think of like iPad kids. But no, this one's just devastating. And so, I mean, even from here, right? It sucks that took me out here. You know, calling from beyond the grave. I just want to say hi, Dad. So there's, you know, whether she's painting this picture of post taking your own life, or, you know, just kind of hinting at, you know, ideation here. You know, shaking my ass, the only thing that's got this black narcissist off my back. She couldn't care less. I never cared more. So maybe, you know, dancing is like maybe a brief reprieve from, you know, the darkness that kind of has this hold on her, for, you know, for lack of a better phrasing. And like, hope's a dangerous thing for a woman like me to have. So somebody who's been disappointed and, you know, down for so long, it's like, why even get your hopes up anymore? Because it's almost like you're living in a lie at that point. And by the time we get to the end of this song, this is, I know she's hit those high notes before, but this is something that I should have commented about the whole record, but I'll say something about it here. The vocals have been amazing. Her vocals alone right here were the thing that stood out, but there's the multi-track vocals and the mixing with those vocals in this album just made everything sound so much bigger. And she isn't a one-trick pony with her voice. I know she has like this, you know, maybe sexier kind of like lounge singing thing going on, the dulcet tones, right? She put her whole Del Russi into that. You got that right, pal. Take that into the conclusions part of the video. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the best Lana Del Rey album. I'd like to say that it's a closer battle than it really is. But this shit made me feel things that I hadn't really felt in a Lana record before. Just like the way that she's just conveying her emotions and being so honest and maybe being a little less flowery, right? So we said this was very diaristic, as if like so a lot of these songs were coming out of the pages of her journal, really bringing it down to earth. And we still get this character of, you know, the Lana Del Rey that we always knew, just like living her best life, being hot in California, right? There's a lot of that. So if you love that from Lana Del Rey, you get a lot of that. But it's the lyricism in this album coupled with the best production she's ever had. And I could still say I still love Ultraviolence for what it was, leaning into that blues rock sound a little bit more. It was consistent. It was cool. But there were just so many other things happening, and we still got some orchestral stuff, maybe even some stuff that was left over from Lust for Life. But all of it still kind of fit into the NFR pocket. I think maybe there was more than one track that was maybe left over from Lust for Life as far as just, these concert references to Led Zeppelin, the Beach Boys, Crosby, Stills, Nash & Young, Elton John, all this other stuff. But knowing, because it's still Lana Del Rey, she's cool because it's almost like certain songs you can take and just throw them on any Lana album and just go like, oh yeah, that deserved to be here. So yeah, that's kind of the AC/DC thing, right? Where it's a lot of it sounds similar, but goddamn is it good. But there was enough here between the piano ballads, the production, the vocal mixing, the lyricism. This is probably the strongest lyricism she's had outside of the iPad line, right? It's more of a me problem. I understand that. That kind of took me out of it a little bit. For a song that was so otherwise devastating. Bartender, Happiness is a Butterfly, Venice Bitch. I mean, Norman fucking Rockwell, still great. Like I said, that song did a lot for me when I had first heard it. And I was so happy to finally see it in the context of everything. And, it's having a 10-minute song, within the first 3 tracks of your album is, if you're not usually making longer songs like that, that's a very brave move, but I think really helped set the tone for the production stylings that we'd see throughout the album, where you knew after Venice Bitch, if you didn't already know it already, because I think this album starts off unlike any other Lana Del Rey album. If you didn't know it already, these first 3 songs, by the end of these first 3 songs, it is established that this is what this is going to sound like. It's not like anything you've heard before. We're getting psychedelic. Jack Antonoff is on his shit, and he will continue to be on his shit until he gets off the fucking toilet. The proverbial toilet, obviously, being him on the mixing board. But this is from a production standpoint, this is the best thing I've heard from Jack Antonoff. And we've listened to a lot of Jack Antonoff shit here on the channel. And I think I said that the last time we reacted to something by Jack Antonoff. I think, through and through, he kind of goes through the motions, or at least I think he kind of did with, Taylor Swift for a second there. It just given, the wide breadth of Tortured Poets department, it's like, okay, it's a little bit more of the same. Like, I get it, but here, this was really the right match here. Because, I think, Jack can do, the traditional pop stuff just fine. It's going to sound good. But here, I think you get way more room to work with, just given that you're working with Lana Del Rey. Everything we've heard up to this point allows for those moments in songs for a nice soundscape to just let us breathe a little bit. And he did not miss any opportunity to do it. The one song where I think I'm hearing a clarinet, but then the guitar's coming in, so I'm like, fuck, is it the guitar? That's the kind of shit that I want. And then, as we go through the album, with like these piano ballads, I'm thinking that there's going to be like some great push towards the end where it's going to drop or something. And it doesn't really. And it's shaking it up. And that's good placement. And that's good pacing for an album. Yeah, I am so happy that I finally got to listen to this. I feel like this album's been chasing me for years. I am the butterfly that this album has been chasing. Both parties agreed to just sit down and enjoy it. And I think I'm the better for it because, especially doing it this way, especially starting from the beginning, sans the, like Lizzie Grant thing. Really starting from the beginning. Very impressed with this. Coming out of Lana. Is it so unbelievably different from Lana Del Rey? No. and that's, I think, might be the best part about it. You still get everything you usually like about Lana Del Rey in this. You know, she's a little bit less of the bad bitch thing, a little less of that, but all in all, this was it was everything you'd like but better. That's Jack Nicholson's son. So that was my reaction to Norman fucking Rockwell by Lana Del Rey. Again, I was so excited to finally get to this one, and it didn't disappoint. This was one where the hype, all the expectations were met. This was properly hyped up for me. Jack Antonoff cooked. Lana Del Rey cooked. Some of the best lyricism we've had from her. Can't wait to get into more Lana Del Rey at some point, but there might be a little bit of a break, but that's okay, because we'll always have this. As a reminder, please do let me know your thoughts on my thoughts. What did you think? Did you think I should have liked one song better than the other? Do you think I'm judging the iPad line in that last song a little bit too harshly? Love to know what you'd have to say down in the comments. If you ever want to catch us live, make sure you click one of the links down in the description. And if you want to catch this reaction uncut and all the other videos of reactions that I do before they come out on YouTube, go ahead and check out my Patreon, where you get exactly that for $1. And another huge shout out to our partners at Ground News. Click the link in my description for 40% off the Vantage subscription to get you thinking about the news that inundates your daily life. But with all that said, I've been Jerry Bees. You've been awesome. Take it easy.
Diggity dog. Breaking. Diggity dog. Shark.